Hello, my Aloha tribe, and welcome to the Aloha Perspective. Happy Thursday. Oh, really? I just literally typed things to think on Thursday, and it's like, what day is it? My mental capacity is still not back to 100%, but you know what? It's okay. It's better. And so there we go. So anyways, again, happy Thursday. Today is Things to Think on Thursday. I'm going to start with the morning mantras, and then I'm going to get into a subject that may be a little, I don't want to say controversial, but maybe a little upending for some people. And it's not intended to be. It's something I was working on last night and thought, you know what? Maybe this is something I should share. Should this, resonate or really kind of hit people in the right ways, not the wrong ways. So there's no intention of hitting people with this in the wrong ways, but it does come from the Heal Yourself deck that I pulled from yesterday. And like I said, the card might get a little, it might seem insensitive, but it's not meant to seem insensitive. Okay. So anyway, starting with the morning mantras. I can't change which way the river bends, so I might as well strap in and enjoy the strange little boat ride. Anyone bring a cooler? Oh my God, this picture is so cute. So again, I can't change which way the river bends, so I might as well strap. I can't read today. I can't change which way the river bends, so I might as well strap in and enjoy this strange little boat ride. Anyone bring a cooler? Bring a cooler fun. So look how cute they are, right? I mean, they're just like, yeah, let's just enjoy this. Riding the little leaf down the river. Stay safe, little people or little ones. Stay safe. But, do I need to say it? I mean, do I really need to say it? Go with the flow. Go with the flow. That's exactly what it's talking about. Strap in and go with the flow. Bring a cooler. Did anyone bring a picnic lunch? While we're floating down this river. Sometimes the river will get crazy. Okay, sometimes the river will get really rough and very rapidy. I know it's not a word, but and just keep going with the flow. It may seem scary, it may seem hard, it may seem like it's going to last forever, but just keep going. Just like Dory says, right? In Finding Nemo, just keep swimming. Just keep swimming, just keep swimming. So that's what we need to do. Going with the flow is so hard, but when you practice it, it becomes easier and easier and easier because we learn to let go of that control. We learn to release this grip we have on things, thinking, well, if I do this, it'll make everything okay. If I do this, everything will be all right. But what you're doing is you might be slamming the door in the face of opportunity. You might be slamming the door in the face of something good that might be happening because you're trying so hard to control the situation. You're trying so hard to just pinpoint the exact location of everything in your life. And we can't do that. We're not a GPS system. Okay? And even GPSs go with the flow. I mean, if they tell you to turn left, 2 streets ago and you don't, it too adjusts, right? Maybe we can learn from the GPS system. It adjusts. It'll say, well, I don't think it says it anymore, but, it used to say rerouting. Remember those days? Rerouting. But it's programmed to know. We're not programmed to know everything. We're not programmed to sit there and know what's going to happen next. I mean, there are times when we do. There are plans that we make and things that, are out there that are set in stone. But the majority of our life, just moving from moment to moment, it's a flow. I mean, you could be walking, you might be like me. I am clumsy AF. I mean, I could be walking and the next thing I know, I'm on the ground. And no, I'm not looking at my phone. I literally can trip. I'm like magical that way. I can trip over anything. I could trip over air. Okay. But it just is what it is. But I love this card because it tells you to go with the flow, and it uses the cutest little examples, right? They're all just hanging out with their drinks. Oh, that's what those are. I thought there was, so you got two little bugs sitting there with their drinks, no cooler, but they got their drinks and they're chilling. They're chilling like little villains. So, and they're just riding the tide. Okay. So that's your mantra for the day. You can't change the river bend, but you can strap in and go with the flow. So, the healing deck. I'm going to put up this disclaimer again. This is not for the faint of heart. And I say this because it's going to get a little deep. But the reason I'm sharing this is because, you know, I've been journaling a lot, going through a lot of different things as I head back towards therapy. And I have a couple of weeks before my first appointment. So, because I chose in person. I chose in person because I tell you, I mean, if they do video, that's fine. But I can't do it on the phone because I have phone ADD, you know, I mean, I literally will start doing all kinds of other things if I'm not having a regular conversation because, I mean, when I talk to people on the phone, I'm fine. But this is something different because I tend to shy away instead of opening up. But I know if I'm sitting in front of someone, I know I'm there to talk to them. I know that I have to, that I'm here for a reason. And I can't just start doing 5 million things and ignoring them and going, I'm sorry, what did you say? So, that being said, I decided to pull some cards last night. I told older sibling this morning, I said, I was actually looking for a body positivity card because I've really been struggling with that. And I couldn't find one. So, but there was another card that popped out while I was reshuffling. I was reshuffling and I was like, okay, what? I had this little, you know, brain itch to do the healing cards today. And so I shuffled and I just put it out there, you know, what do we need to hear? What needs to be said and talked about tomorrow? And the card that came up was this one. Victim consciousness. Victim consciousness. Now, some people are going like, what? What? Now, like I said, I put the disclaimer out there. Okay, because this is not going to be an easy things to think on Thursday. This, you know, might get a little rough for some. It might be a little easy for some. Some people might go, you know, maybe it'll give someone an aha moment on maybe someone else they know. You know, but this isn't about being cruel to somebody who's been a victim of something. You know, whether it's, you know, I mean, if anything, you know, trauma is trauma. You know, we look on TV, we watch these crime shows and think, oh, that's a victim. But there are different kinds of victims. There are abuse victims. There are emotional abuse victims, sexual abuse, physical abuse, you know, mental abuse. You know, there's elder abuse. There's child abuse. You know, and I mean, everything seems to have a name for it, right? I mean, even now for people who have gone through, I don't know if it's specifically for adults who have gone through childhood trauma, but they have a new type of PTSD called CPTSD, which is complex, I believe, PTSD. And I think it's because there's so many different variables in what can add to whatever's causing their triggers, you know. And so it's about healing, and I'm really putting out the disclaimer there because this isn't to shame anyone. This isn't to make anyone feel bad. This isn't to point fingers at anyone. I was telling older sibling also this morning when she asked me what I was going to be talking about. I told her, I said, I really need to talk about this because I think sometimes when I'm trying to explain things, I get lost in my own past. And it's very possible this is why I'm struggling to move forward. This is why I'm struggling to feel worthy of happiness, to feel worthy of a beautiful life, and, you know, to really embrace it and to open my heart to all possibilities. Because I think I'm still, when I journaled last night after I saw this card, I literally wrote in my book, I said, I think I still have one toe. Let me see if I can find it. So my thing last night was, on tomorrow's show, I'm going to talk about victim consciousness. And though I thought I had moved away from that, I think I still have a toe or a foot still in it. I said, I need to not be afraid and just open my heart and soul. I can't keep pointing fingers. I have to take accountability as well as stop being afraid. Now, I'm sharing that. Yeah, it's my personal journal. It's the Floof book. But like I said, I share my story to help other people with theirs. And there's no shame in being a victim. But we can't live there. We cannot live there. When we live there, it's where all the lies form. It's where all the bad things in our head. And yeah, there are people who have gone through so much bad stuff in their life. You know, I used to minimize my trauma, but my trauma was real. But I can't keep focusing back on that. My job here, my purpose, I feel, is to guide people towards a light. Not just give them a flashlight and tell them to find their way out. You know, it's, you know, kind of maybe giving them that flashlight, and if they call for help, they snap their fingers and boom, you know, there you are to help them. Good morning, Carrie. So, oh, and I also see Laura, an older sibling, on. So good morning, everybody. So again, I just wanted to put that disclaimer out there because, like I said, this is a bit of a sensitive subject, and it is not my intention to just, you know, it's not my intention to offend anybody. All right. So let's get to this. Victim consciousness in the self or the healing, oh God, see, my brain is already rebelling. The heal yourself reading cards. So victim consciousness, stop blaming others and take responsibility for what you are creating. Now, I'm going to read this, and then we're going to go back through it step by step, because I'm going to give you my perspective on this. All right. So right here. So let me read the whole thing and then we'll go back. Okay. So stop blaming others and take responsibility for what you are creating. It's easy to think that life is unfair and point a finger at others. If you hear yourself saying life is unfair, bad things always happen to me, I'm not good enough, nobody cares about me, why me, I can't do what I want to do, etc., then you are losing your power, nourishing your victim aspect, and ascertaining your place in the victim club. Your inner victim can stop from moving forward by creating dramas, making you judge others, telling you that you don't deserve better, and keeping you stuck in a financial rut. You need to build your internal confidence, self-worth, and courage. Get out of your comfort zone and work on expanding and growing in all areas of your life. The light side of the victim archetype is the victorious part, which can help you to hold your power without getting angry and attacking others. It can also assist you to create healthy boundaries and act from a place of honesty, integrity, compassion, and love. So the action, visualize your inner victim. Ask to be aware when you are acting like a victim. Then ask your inner victim to show you how you could behave in a more empowered way. How do you need to think, feel, and act to be empowered? On a daily basis, ask yourself, am I acting from an empowered, victorious perspective or a victim perspective? So let's break this down. And again, this is just my perspective. This is my opinion. Somebody wrote this book with some kind of intention in mind, but I really kind of want to break this down in the way that I understand it. So stop blaming others and take responsibility for what you are creating. This doesn't mean, if you've been traumatized, if you've been a victim of something, that doesn't mean you're letting somebody off the hook. If you want to forgive them, I have found that forgiveness, you know, even through some of the stuff I've been through in my life, it was horrid. But I found forgiveness was actually more for me, and it set me free. But to me, this is more of a state of mind when you've been through that healing journey, when you've, you know, come to the other side. And like I said, when I read the journal post, that, you know, I still feel like maybe I have a toe or a foot still in there, because for some reason I just can't move away from it. But it was also my identity for so long. And then it was really kind of, you know, just in my face for the last couple of years as I went through that healing journey. The self-healing journey was a bitch. All right. It was probably, aside from therapy in 2017, it was one of the hardest flipping things I've ever had to do. But I knew I had to do it. And part of the struggle is what happens on the other side. You do come out victorious. And, you know, but sometimes we'll sit there and go, well, you didn't do this, or you didn't do that, and you didn't do this, and you didn't do that. Walk away. I know it can be hard, but sometimes you have to set boundaries. I know someone very in particular who set a boundary and left something that was very toxic for them, you know, and sorry, my nose is running, but when we say stop blaming others and take responsibility for what we're creating, like I said, that doesn't mean that they're not to blame. What it means is that if you keep looking backwards, you're never going to move forward. It's like my mom always used to tell me, don't look back, you're not going that way. And older sibling also adds to it. If you need to look back, or you can always look back to see how far you've come. Okay? It's okay to look back to see how far you've come, but don't keep staring. Right? When you change lanes, you're looking over I'm hoping you're looking over your shoulder. Yeah, that's right. But you're not staring. You're not staring over your shoulder, right? Because what's going to happen? You're probably going to hit the car in front of you. But that's what happens when we're looking backwards. We don't see what's coming up on us from the front. Good morning, Eileen. So that's the first part of that. So it's easy to think that life is unfair and point a finger at others. If you hear yourself saying, life is unfair, bad things always happen to me, I'm not good enough, nobody cares about me, why me, I can't do what I want, etc., then you are losing your power, nourishing your victim aspect, and ascertaining your place in the victim club. So what this means is, okay, so the reason it's hard, I've really got to get personal on this one because I'm really drawing from my own experiences on this. I post a lot of positive stuff on Facebook, sometimes Instagram, sometimes Twitter, but a lot on Facebook. And a lot of it's just because I can share, I mean, if it ends up in my picture album on my phone, it's going to stay there forever. And so I just try to share it. And so a lot of times it doesn't make it to the other social media. But I post a lot, but a lot of times what I'm posting is something that resonates with me. I don't post half the stuff I see, which means I see a lot because I do post a lot of positive stuff. But it's also me reminding myself, stay in your power. That should be the mantra today. That's your affirmation for today. Stay in your power, or stay in my power. Whenever you start to feel like you are losing control, stay in your power. And you can say that to yourself, so-and-so, stay in your power. Shelley Marie, stay in your power. We can't control everything. The morning mantra taught us that. It showed us the two little cute bugs on a little leaf saying, hey, I can't control the way the river bends, but, I can strap in and go with the flow. I can just see where it takes me. Going with the flow is so hard, but once we get the hang of it, it gets easier. Positivity, being positive, believing, instead of saying life is unfair, say, you know what? I can make this better. Or maybe life feels unfair right now. What can I do to turn that around? Bad things always happen to me. Look at the good things that have happened to you. If you can, if you struggle with that, there are a lot of people with some extreme mental health diagnosis. And I understand that it's not always easy to not listen to your brain, especially when you don't have a good support system. It's kind of, sometimes it feels hypocritical for me because I have a very good support system and I'm grateful for that. There's always somebody I can reach out to. And I try to be that person for other people, but a lot of times it is on social media. And so you just kind of have to look for the signs on that. But bad things always happen to me. Bad things are going to keep happening because that's exactly what you're expecting. And why? Because you don't feel worthy. Maybe you've been beaten down mentally so bad that you can't see your worth. You can't see that you deserve this joy. You can't see that you deserve this happiness. Or you're expected or obligated to, oh, see, here we go. I'm going to read what Carrie says. I'm looking at it like retraining, rewiring your brain. Instead of victim thinking, acknowledge that you are a survivor. Exactly. I was going to get there. Build a list of accomplishments from the smallest to the biggest is what her counselor is having her do. Exactly. In fact, when I was in therapy the first time, and I'm not sure if my new therapist is going to make me do that, they made me take stock of the good things in my life, not the bad things, the good things. What has been going right for you? And even if you could only, it's okay if you've only come up with one thing, because it's still one thing and it's one thing you can focus on. But that it's exactly that. Don't think of yourself as a victim. Think of yourself as a survivor. But here's the thing. Survivors also get stuck in, well, not all. Okay. So this is me just sharing my opinion, in my humble opinion, because I've been there. I went from being a victim to a survivor. And as a survivor, I still had an entire half of my body in victimhood. because it's like, yeah, I survived that, but I was still thinking about the trauma a lot. And as I began to heal, as I began to move away, I realized I was starting to go from surviving to thriving. And going from surviving to thriving is huge. But as I got to thriving, I still realized, as I mentioned, I still seem to have a toe or a foot left in that past of mine. And I don't need to reference it all the time, which I do a lot. And I think it's because for some reason, like I said, it's so ingrained in a part of my identity that it feels uncomfortable without it, which is weird, right? It's weird to feel something so horrible have some kind of comfort place for you. But like I said, it was the identity, it was the healing. But I'm not that person anymore. I've grown, I've uncovered the person that I'm meant to be. So let's get to the next part. So again, okay, so we got the nourishing your victim aspect and ascertaining your place in the victim club. You don't need to do that. Yes, bad things happen to us, but we don't need to stay a victim forever. We can move from victim to survivor to thriver. And I think when we see somebody struggling, we can't fix their problems. We can't make it better. But we can sit there and listen and give them the tools and give them the strength. And even if they have to borrow from our strength, so they can get better. Sometimes we have to lead by example. This happened to me, but somehow I managed to move forward. And for as much of a big support group I have, that healing journey, it was all me. I had to do it alone. Nobody drove my train, the train we talked about yesterday, right? You are the engineer of your train. Who you let on and who you let off is up to you. What stations you stop at is up to you. If you decide to stop in the middle of nowhere, that's up to you. Maybe you need to get off, take a break. And that's okay. We don't need to constantly chug and chug and chug and go and go and go. We are allowed to slow down and take a break. I was doing my meditation this morning, and I'm always talking about compassion, empathy, and grace. I need to add something. Patience. Patience. I might finally be getting the hang of this patience thing. But yeah, we need to give ourselves compassion. We need to be empathetic to ourselves. We need to give ourselves some grace. And we need to give ourselves some patience to allow us to get through whatever it is we need to get through. We all have something going on. Even if somebody's life looks perfect, you don't know what's happening. My friend sent me a meme yesterday, and it said, had a big circle, and it just said in the circle, somebody's life, and above the circle it says, be kind, and then there was a little spot, in that circle that said somebody's life, the tiny little spot with a little line going, because you don't know everything. And basically what it was saying is, you may see somebody's life, but what you're seeing is a speck of their life. As a person with a dinged up mental health, I can tell you there are many years that I did the whole fake it till you make it thing. And sometimes I still have to. And sometimes I do it so unintentionally, so automatically that it's kind of like, whoa, where'd that come from? And you're just kind of like, oh. But I can feel it, because there's that anxiety that starts coming in when you feel like, you're just putting on a show, and you're like, oh, okay. I need to excuse myself for a moment, take a deep breath, and then, deal with this after whatever event I'm at is over. And it's okay. All right. So your inner victim can stop you from moving forward by creating dramas, making you judge others, telling you that you don't deserve better, and keeping you stuck in a financial rut. Dare I say it, it's the law of attraction. Okay. I believe in a higher power. I do believe in God. I believe in higher powers. I have a very vast spiritual table, as I've mentioned, but I also believe in the universe. Okay. Or the universal law of attraction. And like I said, even if you don't believe in it, it believes in you, because whatever you're putting out there is the vibration you're going to get back. So if you have a bad day, I'm going to give you the two examples of the bad day again. You wake up, you stub your toe, you have a bad day, you're like, oh man, blah, 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 bleep, it's going to be this kind of day. And then the whole day just seems to go to pot, right? You're just kind of like, crap. But here's another scenario. You wake up, you stub your toe and go like, seriously? What is happening? And maybe you yell at the bedpost for being there forever and you just manage to hit it because it's basically your fault. But, you know, or you stub your toe on, you know, or what are you going to do about it? Are you going to stay mad? And you're like, maybe you laugh it off and go, oh, seriously? It's, you know, and you might be able to turn that around and say, you know what, it's okay. It happens. It happens. It's like it happens. And then your day just progresses on. And it's not that anything different happens during the day. The same things may happen to you over here when you proceeded with a bad day as will happen to you when you had a good day. But when you have a good day, you meet those challenges with more confidence, with more being in your power, as opposed to saying, seriously, why is this happening to me right now? Of course it's this kind of day. Of course this is going to happen. It's the mindset. The same things can happen to us, but it's the tools that we have. It's the mindset that we have. So like I said, someone could put a stack of papers on your desk and when you're in a bad mood and go, fudge, I'm never going to finish this. This sucks. This blows. Or someone could put a thing of papers on your desk and go, all right, I'm going to challenge myself, see how fast I can do this accurately. And, you know, so believe it or not, I hate filing, but filing is one of my superpowers. Putting things in order, putting things in numerical order, alphabetical order, dates, whatever. It's like some weird Rain Man thing that happens in my mind when I see numbers. But there were times when I would start out my day pretty bad and it would just progress. And then, you know, I'd come back the next day to that pile of work and maybe I'm in a better mood and I finish it within less than an hour. And I'm kind of like, wow. And you see the difference. And I only saw the difference because I started making a positive note, or I started making a mental note on my reactions to things. So when we put things out to the universe or put them out to our higher power, you're going to receive back the same vibration that you were putting out there. That's why I try so hard to let people know, stay in your power. Not every day is going to be a good day. You will have bad days. We're human. It happens. But again, how you react to it, how long you let it last, that's up to you. Some days we can't recover from a bad day, and that's okay. Give yourself the grace, the compassion, the empathy, and patience. Don't get mad at yourself. Oh, great, I have this effing pile of stuff on my desk. Now I got to do it tomorrow. Just say, you know what? I couldn't focus on it today. So let's see what I can do tomorrow. I'll tackle it tomorrow. Tomorrow is a new day. There was no deadline on it. It just needed to get done and put away. And then maybe tomorrow you come back with a better mindset and bam, like I said, power through it. So you need to build your internal confidence, self-worth, and courage. Get out of your comfort zone and work on expanding and growing in all areas of your life. That's the healing journey. That's the healing journey. If we do not go on a healing journey, if we do not face our demons, we do not face that shadow work, which really kind of uncovers our demons, we're going to be stuck. And I know I'm saying that very matter-of-factly when really, but you know what? I'm saying it very matter-of-factly because it's printed in books. I don't know how many people are familiar with Carl Jung. Carl Jung was a protege of Freud. And I know people are like, oh, there she goes with her psychobabble again. But, you know, over time, there was a lot of variables into why they kind of, you know, went from being mentor and mentee to two different people with kind of conflicting thoughts. And a lot of that is because Carl Jung had events happen in his life that Freud didn't necessarily have. And Freud was very fixated on the family pattern of psychology. Whereas Carl Jung was like, like I said, I've mentioned this before. I always thought shadow work was a metaphysical term. because it's shadows, right? You go in those gray areas. But it turns out shadow work, it was actually, I don't want to say created, but maybe brought to the light by Carl Jung. And he talked about having to go deep and really kind of to dig into the places you don't want to dig into. Imagine you're standing in a hallway with a bunch of locked doors and you're holding the keys to all these doors. But the hallway is long, intimidating, something like out of The Shining, right? With two little creepy twins at the end. That's all I could think of. Or, just a haunted hallway, right? But it's not haunted. What it's haunted by is the memories of your past, the traumas of your past, the bad things that may have happened. And it doesn't matter how small the bad things were or how big the bad things were. There could be a door, all these little bad things that happened to me. It could be another door, all these bad things that happened to me that I've been through in my life. There could be the other door, trauma. And the only way to unlock the door in front of you is to go through all these doors that you've just walked by. You can't open this door to a better life until you've learned to go deep and heal the stuff that has hurt you. We like to hold on to pain for some reason. Well, I'm not saying everybody. I did, but it was all I knew. My happiness had always come with some kind of stipulation, it felt like. And it was exactly like Carrie said. I am working on retraining and rewiring my brain because of the trauma I went through. But I don't want to talk about my trauma anymore. I moved past it. I healed it. But I think sometimes I feel like I have to talk to it so people understand that I'm not just talking out of my face. But you know what? I don't need to explain myself anymore. If I'm just going to be yammering, obviously there's experiences. Obviously there is something I've been through that I'm able to share without having to constantly go back to that anchor that held me back for so long. So you can live in the sea of misery, or you can roam around in the ocean of bliss. Okay, remember, this has been a long time since I've used this metaphor. The sea of misery with that island in the middle, the island of overthinking, you can stay there all day long if you want. That's your choice. But in a way, that's the victim consciousness. Whereas way over here is the ocean of bliss. However, we always talk about that wall of waves, right? Think about Moana. I mean, she had to go through, if you've seen the cartoon, or the animated feature, if you've seen the animated feature, think about Moana. She had to go past these really crazy waves in order to get away from her island, to go save them. That was the kind of the thing. Their island was becoming the sea of misery. Everything was dying because something bad was happening out there. But she found herself out there. It may not have necessarily been the ocean of bliss to start, but it was when she was sailing home. But she found her power. She found her purpose. She found who she was. Not just the chief's daughter. She found her adventure and she brought her people back to life. And yeah, it's a story, but that's kind of us. That wall of waves, that's the shadow work. That's the place where we have to go and figure out what is bringing me so down that I can't move forward. Is it a trauma that happened to me? Or is it the after effect of the trauma? The post effect? The not feeling worthy, the not feeling, what was it? I'm not good enough. Nobody cares about me. Bad things always happen to me. Life is unfair. Why me? I can't do what I want to do. Or your inner victim stopping you from moving forward by creating dramas, making you judge others, telling you that you don't deserve better, and keeping you stuck in a financial rut. Creating drama could be, or hurting others, hurt people, right? Hurt people, hurt people. I've done that in my life. And I didn't mean to, but I was in so much pain that sometimes I would just shove it down, and poof, it would just explode. And it was not ever pretty. Even when it wasn't that bad, it wasn't pretty. But I share that because I've come so far. But there's still little messes that I'm cleaning up. There's still people who think that, there are these, little things that I might still do that are afraid to make me mad. or afraid to say something because maybe in the past it might have triggered me because I didn't understand how to get help. I was raised by a generation that didn't believe in therapy. Well, not all of them. You have to be stronger. Only weak people have these problems. And that's not true. It takes so much strength to get through the day when your mental health is, just feeling like it's on steroids. Like you feel your head's going to explode. And it takes everything that you've got, which takes a lot of strength. So let's see. We talked about you need to build your internal confidence, self-worth, and courage. When it says get out of your comfort zone and work on expanding and growing in all areas of your life, to me, that means do your shadow work. Do your shadow work. I'll see if I can find the article that I had on the shadow work. It brought up some really good questions, because a lot of times, one of the things I love about therapy is that they ask me questions that I don't think about. When I did my intake to find out who I needed to see, she asked me a question, and it was a question that I feel had been rolling around in my mind, but it was almost like Jeopardy. I had the answer, but they gave me the question, and it's just like, oh my God, there it is. And that was one aspect. It's like, okay, I got to write that down because that's something I need to talk about. But instead, I talked about it with them there. And there you go. See, Carrie says it perfectly. It takes strength and courage to acknowledge that you need help and then seek out help. The whole point of the perspective is to end the stigma of all kinds of bad things. People say, oh God, you're so positive. You're always posting your positive crap. You know what? If it offends you, then maybe there's a reason. If it hits you upside the head in the wrong way, maybe there's a reason. Maybe you're hurting inside and your subconscious is kind of like, bleh. But why? Your heart's saying, please read this, please read this. But your subconscious, your brain is going, this is stupid. Unfollow. Maybe you're still friends, but unfollow. I don't want to see all that crap. Because maybe you just are happy sitting in your sadness. Maybe you're happy sitting in your anger. And maybe you're happy sitting in whatever it is that you're going through. And I used to be that way. I used to see positive stuff. Older sibling posted positive stuff all the time. Before I started my healing journey, I'm just like, you got to be joking. Are you still posting all this stuff? But now I think I post more than she does because I get it now. I get it. There's a level of healing that we have to go through that takes strength. I started this perspective under a whole different name to end the stigma of mental health, but it has grown into so much more. And I love when people come onto the live and they share their thoughts because then I can pass them on. And it's true. It takes a lot of strength and courage to ask for help. A lot. Because we're all kind of mentally geared when we're growing up to be able to do things on our own, to handle things on our own. And that's fine and dandy if you have no one else around. But if you have other people around, why not utilize them? I am not a tall person. I am like 5'4". Okay, which to some people is probably taller than the normal. I'm definitely taller than older sibling, but I'm way shorter than baby sibling. And my point is that I was telling older sibling, I said, because I've gained weight, it's not easy for me to climb the store shelves like Spider-Man right now because I'm afraid I'm going to break the bottom ones. But I have to, it forces me to ask for help. But if you're sitting there and you're able to climb these shelves like Spider-Man, but you're standing next to a person who's like 6'3", why don't you just ask them? Ask them for help. Or even if they're like 5'10". I mean, I got a wingspan of 5'8", okay? My arms from tip to tip are about 5 feet 8 inches because my growth was stifled by my spine curve just enough to keep me short. But my wingspan's still big or still long. So most of the time I'm able to reach things. And older sibling used to just, she would try so hard and I'd walk into the kitchen and just like, do you need help? Well, but now she's better at it. Like, could you reach this for me? Sure. If I can. And if not, she bought me one of those cool grabby things. So, yes, Eileen says it very well. We view asking for help as weakness and we need to end that stigma. We do need to end that stigma. Victim consciousness is tied so hard into people not being able to ask for help. It's okay. You're not weak. There's a saying in the mental health world that I found when I joined the community, and it's sick, not weak. Sick, not weak. Now, I personally do not like the term mental illness because I think that's what scares people away. Now I believe there's a newer term for mental health called neurodivergent, which it's so fancy, but at the same time, you say neurodivergent to someone and they probably think that you work in some secret lab 50 stories down below the ground. So, but mental illness, to me, people hear the word illness and they immediately think bad things because we associate illness with bad things. Cancer, just all the little autoimmune diseases, everything like that. And, the word illness just really sticks in our head as something negative and something bad, especially when we're kids, right? Because when you're a kid, she died from an illness. Maybe they had cancer, but it's that stigma we also put on the word, which is why I choose mental health, good mental health, or dinged up mental health. That's where I came up with the dinged up mental health. Okay. It's almost like having a dent in my brain, but I like that because we need to stop viewing asking for help as a weakness, and that was where one of my struggles was. I reached out and the door was slammed shut in my face. And so for quite a few years, I ignored my mental health. I thought it was something to be ashamed of. I thought it was something that was going to kill me. It has tried. I'm not going to lie. It has tried. But I somehow came out on top. And so I feel like now my purpose is to make sure that other people find their way. I can't hold the light for you. I can't guide you, but I can walk with you. And I don't like closed spaces. So that's a big thing when I talk about the flashlight in the cave. All right. That's me going underground going, okay, we got this. But, and that could also be my own fears. Because, like I said, not everybody will make that journey. Some people will quit along the way. Some people may not make that journey. That's the sad part. But, and I mean, if you can read between the lines there. But that's why we need to end that stigma. That's why we need to show people that it's not weak to ask for help. And like Carrie says, it takes strength and courage to acknowledge that you need help and then seek out the help. And then Eileen followed that up with, we view asking for help as a weakness, and we need to end that stigma. And we do. There are so many stigmas that we need to end. People sit there and go, oh yeah, all you people coming out of the mental health closet. It's like people were trapped in there for so long. And now they feel like they're able to express themselves, to be free to say, yeah, I struggle with my brain. Because they don't feel as stigmatized. But a lot of people still do. That's why I talk about it. Because, it's not comfortable. Because, you put yourself out there and you wonder if people see you as this person who's just a hot mess or messed up or just so fragile that if you say boo to them, they might crack and break and just shatter into 1,000 pieces. But I'm not. I am much stronger. Do I struggle some days? Yes. Have I been struggling a lot lately? Yes. And I've been struggling a lot lately because I've been trying to figure out how to get out of the victim consciousness. Because like I said, I still got a toe or a foot in there. I'm just going to say it. I got an entire, from the knee down, I think is still in there. Okay, so the rest, it's like trying to pull your leg out of mud, right? You get, maybe you accidentally fell into some mud and you get most of your body out, but like half of your leg is still in there. You're just like, seriously? So that's what it feels like. It's just this struggle to just really let go. It's like, you're going to get out of it, but for some reason you don't try as hard because maybe it's comfortable, but it's like a comfortable. All right, so let's get to the last part. The light side of the victim archetype is the victorious part, which can help you hold your power without getting angry and attacking others. It can also assist you to create healthy boundaries and act from a place of honesty, integrity, compassion, and love. I've gotten there. I have set boundaries. I have removed toxic people from my life. And that wasn't always easy. That wasn't always easy. But you know what? I don't need negative people in my life. You know, I can handle the negativity on my own. All right. I get negative enough with myself without somebody telling me that I'm wrong, I'm not thinking right, blah, blah, blah. So it's like, you know what? If you don't add to my life, you don't need to be in my life. And it is hard to walk away. You know, I was telling older sibling, I said yesterday I went through my Facebook friends and I removed a lot of people, and it wasn't any malice behind it. There wasn't anything they posted. It's just, this is a part of my life. These people don't really interact with me. So why are they still here? Because it's like I said, on Facebook, I keep my friends list tight. They're people I know. And, you know, if we don't interact or, you know, we don't talk, then what's the point? I'm not there for the numbers. I'm there for the people in my life, the people I care about in my life. And like I said, it's not meant to be offensive to them. It's just, you know, a lot of people were old work people. And I removed a lot of, not all my old work friends, but a lot of them. And I thought, we don't talk. You know, I've tried reaching out and they don't really reach out back. Maybe they're, you know, I mean, a lot of them are busy. They have their own lives. And I just thought, you know what? This is a part of my life I need to let go. This is a part of me that needs to just, you know, hit the bricks. So, I don't get angry as much anymore either. I have found I deal with things much better. I save it all for when I drive so I can yell at my windshield, and I come home after I've let out the steam. I know that's terrible. I shouldn't be doing that on the road either. Somebody might shoot me. And I know that sounds terrible, but it happened a couple weeks ago in LA. You know, this guy got cut off by someone, probably gave him a hand gesture, and the guy shot into his car and hit his wife. She lived. Okay, she was okay. But still, how scary, right? I mean, we do these little no pun intended. We do these little point things on Facebook, right? You know, have you ever had this? How many stitches have you had? You know, how many surgeries? No, you notice one day it's going to say, have you ever been shot? And I don't mean that to make funny or make fun of that. I don't mean to make light of that, but it's that scary. Even my dad worries. He's like, you know, you really need to stop that. And then there's older sibling and I, when we take turns in the car, like I'll just be all mellow and she'll be like, hey, don't you know how to use your blade? No, la 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 la. She sounds like I do. And I'll just look at her. I'm like, oh, it's your turn today. So, but my point is, I know that I went off the tracks there. But my point is that as I moved through that shadow work, as I moved through that healing journey, I realized that I was letting go of things that I didn't need to. And during that time, I found, wow, I react a lot differently to things now than I used to. Not always. Sometimes I do get cranky. But we're human, right? We all do that. And I'm going to be very honest. All that work, all that shadow work, that's only been within the last year and couple of months. When my dad ended up in the hospital in November 2021, that's when I started all this. In that December of 2021, I did a whole series on this show on shadow work. You know, the history of it, how it worked through it, blah, blah, blah. Carl Jung. And I worked through that. And then in January, my dad ended up in the hospital again. Now, mind you, he's not, you know, he made bad choices. So when he was on his long trip, I just feel like I got to explain so people don't think, oh my God, Shelly, what's wrong with your dad? My dad chose not to take one of his pills while on, you know, a long road trip because he was worried that, you know, we'd have to stop a lot. And he was the only one driving. So, which I told him, see, if I was there, I could have helped you drive. But the point is, I know, it's so bad. But the point is, the doctor told him, you cannot do this anymore. So he understood. The second time, it was just, you know, it's a debate whether or not COVID got him. But, you know, whatever. He just ended up because he needed some breathing stuff. So, but he's fine now. I mean, Dad I told him he's an alien. He survives the weirdest things. But my point is that I was able to go deep because I had time alone. I wasn't here, I was there, and I had the house to myself because my dad was away. And it really kind of forced me to go deep. And I don't want people to feel forced to go deep. That's why I share it now. Because it can be scary. And I mean, if I had known how much crying and how much pain I would have been in doing this, I'm not sure I would have done it. But I think it's fair for me to be honest, because when I've tried to do this in the past without having a term placed on it, like shadow work, I shied away from it. I didn't want to feel that pain. I didn't want to hurt. So you have to get comfortable being uncomfortable. That's how we heal. But boy, I tell you, coming out the other side of that, it is the greatest feeling. And a lot of it is just that. It's the victorious part. It's that, it helps me hold my power. It helps me from getting angry and attacking others. And it can also assist you in creating healthy boundaries and acting from a place of honesty, integrity, compassion, and love. When you feel like, there's no time limit on journeys. Okay? When you feel like maybe you're getting that sensory overload, just take a moment, take a step back. Don't plant roots there, but sit there long enough so that you're leveled out again. And remember, the most important part, give yourself grace, give yourself compassion, give yourself empathy, and the new one to join the team, patience. Be patient with yourself and be patient with others if they're on a journey. I am sure that my journey was not for the faint of heart, but like I said, I have like a bazillion. I have 4 of these, and I named them all. The first one was the feral floof. I'm on number 4 now, the liberation of floof. That's what I called my inner child, or my inner shadow was floof. And, I just, like I said, there were four complete notebooks, and it's a cheap notebook. It's like $2, right? And the funny thing is, for all the journals, it actually was easier to do this because there's so many pages. You don't have to fight with it. I think sometimes when we start fighting with the books and the journals, because we want it to be fancy, right? We want our healing to be fancy. My healing was not fancy. Not in the least bit. My healing was all over the place. It was messy. It was ugly. It was gross. Not gross like barf gross, but ugh. Like, how did I do that? But again, when you look back, look how far you've come. But once you've seen how far you've come, don't look back anymore, because you're not going that way. And that's where I'm stuck. My foot is stuck in that place where I'm looking forward, but something's got me chained to the ground with one leg. And I need to figure out what that lock is to unlock it and let go. And it's very possible that more shadow work might be done with the victim consciousness. Why am I holding on to that? And how does it serve me? It does not. What is the purpose of it? There is none. So why are you holding on? It's like a comfortable blanket. Why? I have no idea. I have no idea. And that's where I need to figure it out. All right. So, I hope everybody has a wonderful, wonderful day. Thank you for hanging in there for this. I know this one might have been a little bit difficult, but you know what? I am so, so grateful that I chose to do this card. I almost didn't because I didn't want anyone to get offended, but I love the commentary from Carrie and Eileen. I love when people share their own experiences, because you know what? It helps me as well. Like, I'm going to go and I'm going to build a list of my own accomplishments, from the smallest to the biggest. But you know what? To me, I know that they have us listed from the smallest to the biggest to show us, but to me, everything is big. Everything is big. It's always about the little things, right? Oh, thank you, Carrie. You're amazing too, and I appreciate you. I appreciate you too, Eileen, and anybody else who might be on. I can't really see who's on or not, so I'm commenting to the people who are commenting, but you all keep me going. I do this because of my small but fervent following. I know I stole that from a show on Facebook, and that's why I still do the lives here. I had thought about moving it to YouTube, but then I thought, you know what? No, because this is where everybody's at. And other people watch it later. So, it's kind of still here. But you all are amazing. Especially hanging in there that long and listening to me. Yeah. I mean, I probably would have fallen asleep by now. But I have a gift of talking. But anyways, in fact, I'm looking at this behind my computer before I let you go. I took all these little random things that were on my wall and I made them into like really kind of one big poster. And right in the center of it, it just says magical as fuck. And I had to keep that. I'm really trying not to swear as much anymore because I don't really want it to offend anyone. It is my thing. I mean, it's letting off steam. But the gift of gab, that's it. Thank you, Eileen. I have the gift of gab. I do. And she says not everyone has it. So you know what? Thank you. I'm going to take that and run with it. So again, I hope everybody has a wonderful, wonderful day. Thank you all so much for hanging in there, for staying in there. I do appreciate all of you, and I really do think you are all amazing. You have all been very supportive and really just integral parts of my own healing journey. And I appreciate that. I can't do it without other people. And because of you, I'm able to put this forth and hopefully be an integral part of somebody else's journey. So don't stop being who you are. Don't hide yourself. Speak your truth. Be your authentic you. If you see someone struggling, say, is there anything I can do to help? If they say no, then do you want me to just sit here with you? Okay. Because sometimes it's all they need. Just a shoulder and an ear. All right. So I hope everybody has a wonderful, wonderful day. My inbox is always open if you need me. Okay. I post this everywhere. So I have a bazillion inboxes, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Twitter's probably the easiest one. YouTube. I don't think YouTube has an inbox, but I forget to check my Instagram inboxes. So Facebook and Twitter are probably your best bets, but I am here. All right. If you need to knock, and remember, don't be afraid of that hallway. Okay, don't be afraid of that hallway. It might seem scary, but you got to start unlocking all those doors and healing everything, letting the sunshine back into that hallway in order for you to reach that last door to open and walk into the life that you deserve. Okay, you have to believe that you deserve that life. It is so imperative and important to believe that you are worthy and you do deserve happiness. Okay, so have a great day, everybody. I will see everybody back here Monday, 8:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, Facebook Live. I may or may not be doing an oracle reading tomorrow. I am meeting my father for breakfast because I'm heading to San Diego for Padres Fan Fest Saturday. So I'm super duper excited about that. And so I'm not sure if I'm going to have time to do a perspective tomorrow. If I do, it'll probably be at 8 o'clock and it'll just be a quick oracle because tomorrow is Aloha Oracle Friday. But if not, I will see you back here Monday, 8:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, Facebook Live. All lives are public. Anybody can watch under Shelly Marie Lucas. I do share them to my Facebook page, The Aloha Perspective, and I do upload these afterwards to YouTube, also under The Aloha Perspective, if you want to like or subscribe, either one of those. All right. You can also, if you follow me on Twitter, you'll find it there as well. All right. So again, have a great, great day, everybody. Thank you all. Thank you, ladies, so much for your input, for watching, for having some really good insight into this subject matter that we were talking about, and most of all, for hanging in there. All right. Have a great day, everybody, and thank you again so much for watching.